He screamed, "Say it, say it, say it. I will make effing sure you never see your grandchildren again." We're still not allowed to know, after 2 years, whether our son's remains have been laid to rest or not. She yelled in my face, in public, with witnesses, while my son was dying. "What are you so worried about, Janine?" Because I dared to ask one question. While my son was dying, what was that all about? So totally and absolutely using our grandchildren and our son, who we are missing and grieving desperately, as game pieces, tools, a threat, and so many other vicious cruelties. And this is how we've been forced to grieve the 2 years since our oldest adult twin son's death. We have been treated as if we are the lowest life, criminal trash with absolutely no right to have any place in our son's life. I've been instructed to not share about our son, all because of why, what purpose. It's all so horrible. It's like a dare to actually speak the words of what we've been through. We're trying to wrap our brains and hearts around such cruelty and attempts at domination. The truth in love is what will set us free. Yes, I have followed proper procedure and approached the correct place, begging for honesty as to why, how to fix. But I'm just dismissed and it all continues. On September 4th, 2021, our son was destroyed in a very horrific mountain biking accident. Life-flighted, spinal cord injury, paralyzed, multiple surgeries, rehab hospital for 3 months, and lived nearly 18 months as he was destroyed in every possible way. He breathed his last on Valentine's Day 2 years ago. It seems like just weeks, but we have lived every single brutal second of these past cruel years. We've not been allowed to be any part of any memorial, to even know about it, nothing. We've been viciously attacked, threatened, lectured, and betrayed. So this is how we've been forced to grieve as parents, having lost our son. And this is my story, girl, wife, mama, nana. We all have our stories. I've been told not to share about our son, as if to erase us, truth, him, and move on, to comply, to just live under a vile threat. What would you do? Hello there, kindred spirits, friends, loved ones, only. I have been making these videos throughout the past 2 years to honor our son's life. They've been helping me so much to process all that has happened since there was nothing else for closure or anything. So it's been really helpful. And so here I am again at 2 years. And been working hard at it. Yesterday, I thought I was finished, but I had to delete a whole bunch. It's all truth. It's all right here. It's all the real deal. But I just had to delete a lot of it. So this will be a lot briefer than it would have been. Because a lot of it is just too horrific to go through. So join me if you're a kindred spirit, a friend, a loved one, people who have been concerned and asking. This is where we are and how we got here. So join me. Well, the threats and punishment have backfired. I'm coming out of the darkness into the light, and with my purpose, the truth will set us all free. One cannot hold a full beach ball underwater forever. The pain that is inflicted fuels and drives this mission I've been given for truth. Polite society doesn't talk about such things. Shush, they say. Move on. All I ever wanted was to be a loving wife, mama, nana, and cozy homekeeper. That's Tom's work glove, a tiny little work glove from when he was little that someone found outside on our property. For a few years, we were afraid we weren't going to be able to have a family. But then, these precious 3 blessings were the answer to so very many prayers. And I found myself laying in the hospital expecting twins with preeclampsia for weeks. No visitors allowed except Dave. Closed drapes. Really all I had was my funny little cassette player while I was waiting for our 2 precious babies. And I would listen to some cassettes I had that were Wendy and Mary albums constantly, and especially all night, laying there afraid and wondering what was going to happen with our babies. I would listen to this one song of theirs called Lullaby for Grown-Ups. And the other day, after I had been working on this video for a long time, I left in our vehicle, and I was fiddling with the radio on an FM station. That song came on, and I hadn't heard it for 30 some years, a long, long time. I'm going to link it because it's precious that happened right now. I was so desperate to do motherhood right. Having come from a dysfunctional home, and who didn't, and as far from perfect as anyone, I tried my very best to be the best mama I could be. And like everyone else, I failed at times. The first 10 years of our marriage were very horribly invaded by others, so I made sure that I never did that to our kiddos. I respected their privacy, their homes, their family lives, and I would never just show up uninvited. I don't and didn't belittle, correct, nag, drone on and on with unsolicited advice, bully, shame, or narrate or manage. And everyone knows that these kids have had the most amazing, loving, strong, generous, and godly father. We have a responsibility to not live by lies. I have been instructed how to grieve and not grieve, what I could do or not do, what I could share or not share. Can you imagine? The darkness is beginning to clear from these horrible, horrible years of being managed in our grief. Managed as if we had no, or at least the very last place in the life and death of our own son. A whole bunch of a group of people act as if they know something very extremely horrible about us, secretive, that justifies all of this cruelty and laughing at our pain. Something unspeakably horrible, as if it's a prison-worthy crime, so that we should be treated as trash criminals. I have begged to know repeatedly. After Tom's accident, his spirit was broken. He was a crushed, caged animal. He was humiliated. We constantly thought about what agony he was living, what must be going through his mind. It was visible in his eyes. Friends were so worried about him. Why does he look like that? Why is he so thin, so dehydrated? His physical condition was hell. He couldn't catch a break. Friends even suggested kidnapping, calling adult protective services. We offered to take him home and said we would hire all needed professional help for him. Finally, he was just a shadow of his former self, so unwell, so secluded, so humiliated, so severely depressed, trying to be the very least amount of work possible. We could see the agony, the torture, the anguish in his eyes. He tried so hard to be brave. He had always been so stoic, so self-sufficient from birth. He was always there for everyone else, helping. And then he became almost completely helpless. He was not himself, and he was hearing horrible things like, "This isn't the life I planned on, and this is why we can never go anywhere or do anything," and more. He had forgotten How many hundreds and hundreds of people loved him? Maybe thousands. We were hardly ever allowed to help, except for a few times. At first, we were told that we were chosen to be 2 of 4 caregivers. We said we would do anything over and over and over. We begged. I begged to help. People confronted us in town because they were told that we were neglecting him when I wasn't even allowed to pull weeds or take out trash. We went as often as we could, knowing we would be corrected, belittled, anything we offered or suggested denied 99.9% of the time. It was a constant forever. It was not new, but it was really, really hard to take now. Once before a last meal together, I wondered to myself, how quickly would I be corrected as soon as we sat down together? The second thing I tried to say was corrected. It felt like the millionth time to be humiliated in front of everyone. During this entire procedure of his passing, we were not allowed to have any support of friends. No one could know of this secret procedure during what ended up being a 12-day process. Completely secret, but they had their support. In the end, we were not allowed to be a part of any memorial at all. We were told about it and invited. You're welcome to come along. But then when we asked multiple times, we were ghosted, and we still do not know. I've received a lecture on who our own son was by multiple people. It's just killer, so very painful. And all of these people have sons, all of them. One of the very many but vilest parts of this cruel ordeal has been the final horrible tip of this iceberg of years of this was when we received a vile, filthy, screaming, threatening call from the preferred influencer in our grandchildren's lives, our son's children, right at the anniversary of the accident that destroyed our son, one of the very last people on the face of this earth who should tell us anything. A 1.5-hour rant. This person said we were insane because we were repeating what we've always believed, that we needed to agree to disagree with this person like our son had had to, that we needed to come under this person's expertise. A filthy, foul-mouthed, screaming rant for an hour and a half at a grieving mom, me, at one point screaming, say it, say it, say it. Say what? And then threatening, I will make effing sure you never see your grandchildren again. And this was our son's friend. All of this goes very much deeper, but that was so horrible. Tom never even suggested to us that we were to come under this person's tutelage. These many people who have attacked and lectured and instructed us have less than zero authority over us. What they do have is what's necessary to influence and inflict the very deepest pain possible. They've used their influence to achieve their wish. So now I am free to go ahead with the whole truth. We were instructed to not share our son. This, after hundreds and hundreds of humiliating photos had been shared out. It's now so very clear how much planning and orchestrating and managing went into all of this and into managing us. Well, the truth is setting us free and will absolutely, eventually, set others free as well. I've continuously sent messages to our grandchildren, making sure that they know that we are and always will be constantly here for them. We welcome them in our home. being sure that they know that they can go to work with their grampy at any time even. Our son told us, I want them to have what I had. I want them to learn a good work ethic. And we are now blocked from our grandchildren. We will never, ever use our grandchildren, our grand blessings as game pieces to play with, to use for cruelty, to hold a threat over. Time and truth will tell all. Freedom demands vigilance, courage, and using your voice. We will stand strong, speak up, and protect the most precious and vulnerable with truth and diligent prayer. Here comes Maisie after this one. Go, Maisie! Woohoo! Just recently, an amazing and kind surprise blessed us. A dedication and memorial naming a local biking trail after our son. Some amazing men who make up a dirt biking group in our area, who maintain and build trails, who truly knew and loved Tom, wanted to honor his life as a lifelong trail rider in this area. About a year ago, they asked permission, saying they were going to build a new trail and name it after him. So we had no idea how long that would take, imagining it would take a long time for volunteers to build a whole new trail. Suddenly, one weekend just before winter weather was going to hit, they asked how soon we could meet up, and we thought it would just be a couple of people putting up a sign, but it was an amazing setup with a group of amazing people. There was a tent, a trailer, newspaper, photographer, and reporter. In the end, they had decided to dedicate the novice trail right there that was already there, which was for training of kiddos, where they all knew that Tom had spent countless hours generously helping training kids and his own, learning to ride dirt bikes. It was so precious, and so many amazing people spoke, remembering our Tom, talking about what they remembered, and even honoring our whole family. It was just It was so unexpected and so wonderful. Except for one thing, and you can probably guess, but we have not let it ruin the time. So now there's this wonderful place to go visit and just sit and remember all the good times, all the best of memories. I'm right at the end of the little memorial there at the trail. I remembered that when Tom and his twin, Mark, were maybe about 2 years old, and they had these little plastic four-wheelers, battery operated, that they would ride everywhere. They got them for Christmas, and Daddy decided we were going to take them out to Big Bend, which was not really even a bike trail place yet, way back when they were about 2 years old. And we took them out there, and he took them up to the top of a hill, and he let them go. And yes, I was probably screaming. I know I was really worried, but the rest is history. So they've been riding Big Bend for a long, long time. So unfortunately now, things are pretty sad, and people are whispering things and getting their wishes. Romans 3:13. People stop and ask us regularly still, how is your son doing? They don't even know that he is gone. There was just a brief, something like an ad taken out and put in a different part of the paper, so hardly anybody saw that. So since Tom, we grew up here, Tom grew up here, and so many people knew and loved him, and people still don't know. They're still asking, and we have to tell them all over again. We tell them the whole truth, and it's devastating every time, but we will not live by lies. When we leave room for tyranny, it finds a way in. It's up to us to fill that space with truth, freedom, and justice, right? We must stay alert and stand together, strong, even when we're treated as if we have no heart or brain. We have the power to push back and create a better world, to end the cycle of abusive tyranny, constantly praying for truth and healing. So this is where we are now, and how we've been forced to grieve these past 2 years. I will continue to honor our son's life and truth and our most precious memories. My grief and honesty has already been attacked many, many times by, quote, others who agree, unquote. So there's a group, and they will all talk about it, but not to me. If you are living under threat, cruelty, censorship, and not allowed to have a voice by someone with no authority above themselves, with no one to appeal to for help, this is abuse. I have many, many years of experience with this. I know what I'm talking about. 60 years, to be exact. When God's perfect, beautifully designed, and ordained plan is perverted, this is the result. It's such a beautiful thing when people learn or are taught their proper place. There is a perfect hierarchy, divinely designed. And when people know it, it saves so much agony and time. All else is chaos. We've been patient and kind and giving and loving and welcoming and listening for years and years from people who had zero place of authority in our lives whatsoever. The reason we have been so patient is because, well, we're supposed to, but what we do have is heartstrings to them. And we know that they can be cruelly severed at any moment. We speak truth, honesty, and love, and we will remain standing strong. I dedicate this video in memory of Tom Uncle Tom, to our 6 precious grand blessings with love. We love you. We pray fervently for you. We think of you constantly. Eternity is forever, and each one of your precious souls is precious to us. We will always be here for you. We will always tell the truth.
Are you there? Say a prayer for the pretender who started out so young and strong, only to surrender. Say a prayer for the pretender. Are you there for the pretender?
Thank you to all kindred spirits, friends, family, loved ones, caring people, people who are grieving. Stay strong, and let's keep in touch.